Hello friends, I hope you are all doing good. Before we start the discussion on the actual video the purpose of the video which I had uploaded this, let me tell you that all the crash course lectures have been recorded. I have recorded all the crash course lectures today, and they will be uploaded by tomorrow or day after tomorrow. For CA Inter students, everything is already uploaded. For CMA intermediate student, maybe by tomorrow or day after tomorrow it will be uploaded, and for final students it will be uploaded by 5th. Everything will be uploaded. It will be available on mobile applications. I hope you are enjoying all those videos. Those who have purchased the course, those who have not purchased the code, you can definitely go to the respective mobile application Dilip Raj Purohit classes, and respective courses are there: CA Inter, CMA Inter, and CMA Final. I'll just show you how the pages looks like. So CA Inter courses are available. It is available for a very nominal price of ₹500, and the beauty of this course is that everything which is applicable for your coming examination is covered. All the amended provisions are covered, and also this course is 100% in English. Similarly, for final and intermediate students also the same course is available. For CMA intermediate it is 500, CA Inter it is 500, and for CA, CS and CMA final it is 750 rupees. So you can go to the mobile applications if you want to see the recorded classes which are available over there. And any doubt if you have, you can always text me on send me a WhatsApp message on 9620022004. I hope you enjoy the lecture which is going to be continued now. Thank you, take care, tada, bye bye, enjoy. Sir, can you please tell me what do you mean by aggregate turnover? Can you please tell me what do you mean by aggregate turnover? I'll read the definition of aggregate turnover for you, then I'll explain this. Aggregate turnover means section 2 subsection 6. For this particular definition, section is also important. Section 2 subsection 6, very important definition. Under entire GST law, most important definition is aggregate turnover. Section 2 subsection 6 of CGST Act says aggregate turnover means aggregate value. Aggregate turnover means what, sir? Aggregate value. Aggregate turnover means what, sir? Aggregate value. Aggregate value means what, sir? Total value. Aggregate turnover means aggregate value or total value of all goods, or I'll read the definition for you. Aggregate value of all taxable supplies, aggregate value of all exempt supplies, aggregate value of all export of goods or services, aggregate value of all interstate supply to a person having same PAN computed on all India basis, but shall not include, but shall exclude the taxes under GST and inward supply liable for reverse charge. I'll repeat. The definition of aggregate turnover says aggregate turnover means aggregate value of all taxable supplies, aggregate value of all exempt supplies, aggregate value of export of goods or services, and interstate supply to a person having same PAN, and interstate supply to a person having same PAN. This is required to be, whenever you are computing the aggregate turnover, it is required to be computed on all India basis, and aggregate turnover shall exclude the taxes under GST and inward supply liable for reverse charge. It shall exclude the taxes under GST, which is CGST, SGST, IGST, UTGST, and GST compensation cess, and also the inward supply liable for reverse charge, So what do you mean by aggregate turnover, sir? Aggregate turnover means aggregate value of all. Aggregate value means what, sir? The total value of all. Point number 1, taxable supplies made by you of all aggregate value or total value of all taxable supplies made by you of all exempt supplies which is made by you of all export of goods or services made by you of all interstate supply to a person having same PAN. same interstate supply to a person having same PAN. This is required to be computed on, whenever you are computing aggregate turnover, it is required to be computed on all India basis. It is required to be computed on all India basis, and it shall not include, but it shall not include, point number 1, it shall not include the taxes under GST. But it shall not include what, sir? It shall not include the taxes under GST and inward supply liable for reverse charge. Please note, I am writing this again so that you also copy the same. I could have explained you the meaning of aggregate turnover by giving examples over here only, but writing this is very important because this definition is required to be registered in your mind. You are required to register the same in your mind. Very important definition under GST law. In your entire GST law, the most important definition is this definition of aggregate turnover. It is the definition of aggregate turnover. Now, aggregate turnover means aggregate value. That means total value of all taxable supplies. What do you mean by taxable supplies, sir? Taxable supplies means any supply which is taxable under GST law. Sir, what do you mean by this? Taxable supplies means any supply which is taxable under GST law. Any supply which is taxable under GST law will be called as taxable supplies. Sir, any supply taxable under GST law? Yes, any tax supplies which is taxable under GST law is called as taxable supplies. Now, this taxable supply can be a supply which is made within the state, or it can be a supply which is made to other state. So, they are not using the word intrastate taxable supply, interstate taxable supply. They are using the word taxable supply. What do you mean by taxable supplies? Any supply taxable under GST law. Any supply on which tax is required to be paid under GST law is called as taxable supplies. These taxable supplies can either be an intrastate supply or an interstate supply. It can be an intrastate taxable supply, or it can be an interstate taxable supplies, or it can be an interstate taxable supplies. Then, sir, what do you mean by exempt supplies? Again, exempt supply can also be an intrastate exempt supply or interstate exempt supply. It can also be an exempt supply which is made within the state, or exempt supply which is made to other states. Sir, what do you mean by this exempt supply? Exempt supply means those supplies which are, the definition of exempt supply says, exempt supply means those supplies which are wholly exempt, those supplies which are nil rated, and it also includes non taxable supplies. Exempt supply means what, sir? Exempt supply means those supplies which are wholly exempt under section 11 of CGST Act or under section 6 of IGST Act. So there is a chapter after this chapter, section 10. The next section is section 11. So there is this section 11 which gives the list of goods, it gives a list of services on which the tax is not required to be paid at all, which are exempt. So there are some supplies on which tax is not required to be paid. If there is any supply on which no tax is required to be paid, if there is any supply which is wholly exempt under CGST Act or under IGST Act, then I will call that supply as an exempt supplies. So this is given under section 11 of CGST Act and under section 6 of IGST Act. So those supplies which are wholly exempt under section 11 of CGST Act or under section 6 of SGST Act, then those supplies which are nil rated. Now, very important, nil rated supplies are very important. Nil rated supplies are those supplies. Nil rated supplies are those supplies for which there is a confusion now. Very important. Nil rated supplies are those supplies for which the rate of tax, for which what sir? The rate of tax is nil, for which the rate of tax is 0%, for which the rate of tax is dash, or it is left blank. Meaning under GST law we have this rate list. We have this rate list. Okay, RCM rate list it is showing. We have this rate list under GST law. Okay, it is I have opened an RC. Now there are many supplies under GST law which are taxable at different rates. Okay, there are many supplies under GST law which are taxable at different rates. So different rates. Now there is a product or there is a services, and that services they have specified a rate. For that services they have specified a rate. If you can see over here, there is some chapter name, heading, etc. Some code they have given, then the description of goods they have given, then they have given CGST rate 2.5%, SGST rate or UTGST rate 2.5%, and IGST rate 2.5%. So this is the rate list which is available on the website, Now what do you mean by zero rated, what do you mean by nil rated supplies, sir? Nil rated supplies are those supply for which the rate of tax over here you can see, for which the rate of tax is 0%, or for which the rate of tax over here it will be written as nil, or it will be left blank. So nil rated supplies are which supplies, sir? Nil rated supplies are those supplies for which the rate of tax is nil. In the rate column, they have specified a product, say pen, and in the rate column, they have written as nil, for which the rate of tax is 0%, for which the rate of tax is left dash, they have written dash, or for which they have left it blank, for which the rate of tax column they have left blank, they have left it blank. So nil rated supply are those supply for which the rate of tax is 0% or nil, or it is left blank. Please note there is a confusion. What is that confusion? I'll just tell you. Wait for a second. Then what do you mean by, then next is, so exempt supply means supplies which are wholly exempt, then supplies which are nil rated, and it includes non-taxable supplies. Sir, what do you mean by non-taxable supplies? As the definition says, non-taxable supplies are those supplies which are not taxable under GST law. The definition is telling this. I am not telling this. The definition says those supply which are not taxable under GST law shall be called as non-taxable supply. Tell me which are the supplies which are not taxable under GST law as on today. As on today, as we all know, alcoholic liquor for human consumption is not taxable under GST law. Then we have something called as HP-MAN, high speed diesel, petroleum, crude, motor spirit, aviation, turbine fuel, and natural gas. This HP-MAN is also not. What is the difference between zero rated supply? Wait, sir, I'll come. Mr. Ma'am, I'll come. Kirti, I'll come to that point. So only I'm telling, please understand each and every word which I'm using properly. So next is non-taxable supplies. Alcoholic liquor for human consumption, high-speed diesel, petroleum crude, motor spirit, aviation, turbine fuel, and natural gas. These are all non-taxable supplies. On this, GST is not applicable as on today. On this, GST is not applicable. So these are called as non-taxable supplies. These are called as non-taxable supplies. So aggregate turnover includes aggregate value of all taxable supplies, aggregate value of all exempt supplies. We understood the meaning of exempt supplies, and it includes aggregate value of all export of goods or services. It includes aggregate value of all export of goods or services. Now, export of goods or services as per section 16 of IGST Act. Please note, what am I using as per section 16 of IGST Act 2017, which gives the meaning of zero rated supply. As per section 16 of IGST Act, which gives the meaning of zero rated supply, export of goods or services are also called as zero rated supply. Zero rated supply definition has been given. The zero rated supply definition says zero rated supply means those supplies for which the rate of tax is zero rated supplies means those supplies which are meant for outside India, that is export of goods and services, and the supply which is made to an SEZ unit or SEZ developer. So what is zero rated supply? Zero rated supply means those supplies, zero rated supply means those supplies which are meant to be undertaken outside India. Zero rated supplies are those supplies which are meant to be undertaken outside India, that is export of goods or services, and also import of goods or services are called as zero rated supplies. Plus it also includes the supply which is made to an SEZ unit or SEZ developer, or a supply made by an SEZ unit or SEZ developer. So is there a difference between zero rated supply and nil rated supply? Answer is 100% yes. Sir, is there a difference between the zero rated supply and nil rated supply? Answer is 100% yes. What is the difference between zero rated supply and nil rated supply? Zero rated supplies are not those supply, please understand, please write it somewhere. Zero rated supply are not those supply for which the rate of tax is 0%. Zero rated supply are not those supplies for which the rate of tax is 0%. Sir, then what is zero rated supply? Zero rated supplies are export of goods or services and supply made to an SEZ unit or SEZ developer. Supply made to or by an SEZ unit or SEZ developer. So zero rated supply means what, sir? Zero rated supply means those supply for which the rate of tax is 0%, or a supply which is made to or by SEZ unit or SEZ developer. Therefore, zero rated supplies are not those supplies for which the rate of tax is 0%. Sir, what are the supplies called for which the rate of tax is 0%? The supplies for which the rate of tax is 0% are called as nil rated supply. They are called as nil rated supply, and these nil rated supply are exempt supply. These nil rated supply are exempt supply. I hope this point is clear to everyone. I hope this point is clear to everyone. Very important point, and I hope it is clear to everyone. And I hope it is clear to everyone. Any person has any question on this point, can please ask me. Aggregate value of all taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export of goods or services. Then we have next point. Before that, let me get a confirmation. Yes sir, yes sir. Kirti, I hope your doubt is clear now. Please note, though I have explained you, though I have taken I think almost 5 minutes, I'm taking almost 10 minutes to explain the definition of aggregate turnover. Though I am taking almost 10 minutes to explain the definition of aggregate turnover, tomorrow you will do the same mistake. You will do the same mistake. There are lots of different chapters where aggregate turnover, zero rated supply definitions are important. Now I will not repeat all those things again over there because I am taking ample amount of time. That time I will just read the definition for you and I will just give 1 minute explanation, etc. But there also you will make the same mistake. Please make sure you don't do the same mistake. Okay, then aggregate turnover also includes, point number 3, aggregate turnover also includes point number 3, interstate supply to a person having same PAN. Please see, they are using the word interstate supply to a person having same PAN. They are not using the word intrastate supply to a person having same PAN. Sir, why sir they are using the word interstate supply to a person having same PAN? What do you mean by this interstate supply to a person having same PAN? See, normally, I hope you remember that we discussed something about section 25.4 and 25.5. Section 7 subsection 1 clause C read with schedule 1 point number 2 told supply of goods or services or both between related person or between distinct person referred to in section 25.4 or 25.5 shall be treated as supply. The 25.4 said if a person has obtained or is required to obtain more than one registration whether in a state or more than one state or union territory, each of that registration shall be treated as distinct person. Then 25.5 said if a person has an establishment registered in a state and also has another establishment in another state or union territory, all these establishments shall be treated as distinct person. We had discussed this while discussing supply topic. Now, as per section 25 subsection 4 and 25 subsection 5, even if you make a supply to your own branch outside the state, it shall be treated as supply. Even when a person makes a supply to his own branch located in other state, it shall be treated as supply even when there is no consideration involved. Even when there is no consideration involved, it is treated as supply. It is treated as supply. Therefore, to include the same in the definition, they are telling if you are making a supply from one person in a state to another person in another state. Sorry, if you are making a supply, if any supply has been made by Priya Sarees in state of Karnataka to Priya Sarees in the state of Tamil Nadu, the owner of both of this business is same. Whatever Priya Sarees Tamil Nadu is going to earn and whatever Priya Sarees Karnataka is going to earn, everything is going to come and sit in my own pocket. I am going to file one single income tax return. But for the purpose of GST law, they are two separate persons. I don't care how income tax is happening. I should not care whether you are filing one single return under income tax law or not. See, under income tax law, return is filed based on PAN. Because for all this business, there will be only one PAN. So only one return will be filed. But I don't care how you are filing your income tax return. If a supply has been made by one branch in a state to another branch in another state, then that supply shall also be included in the definition of aggregate turnover. It shall also be included while calculating the aggregate turnover. See, basically what happens, it is like this, say I have rupees 100 with me. Now this 100 rupees which is there, I have in my shirt pocket. Now I am putting it in my pant pocket. I am taking out this money and putting it in my pant pocket. At the end of the day, where is the money? It is with me only, no? At the end of the day, where is the money? It is with me only, no? So what I'm trying to tell is, in your books of accounts, while doing accounting, in your income tax, you are not going to record this. In your books of accounts, you will show as sales on one side and purchase on the other side. Sale of rupees 100 and purchase of rupees 100. The net effect is 0. But GST law does not accept it like this. GST law says, see, this is your shirt and that is your pant. Shirt and pant are not same. GST law says shirt is shirt which you wear on top, pant is pant which you wear on bottom. You cannot wear shirt on your you cannot wear shirt as a pant and you cannot wear pant as a shirt, etc. So GST law say, for me there is a difference between shirt and pant. If you take a money from shirt and put it in your pant, then the money is transferred from shirt to pant. It shall be treated as supply and you are required to include that in aggregate turnover. So under GST law, if there is a transfer made to a person having same PAN and if it is an interstate transfer, then it shall be treated as supply and it will be included in the definition of aggregate turnover. Okay. Now, we understood what are the different things which are required to be included in aggregate turnover. You should include taxable supplies, you should include exempt supplies, you should include export of goods or services, also called as zero rated supply. You are required to include the interstate supply to a person having same PAN. Now, this aggregate turnover which you are calculating, this aggregate turnover is required to be calculated on all India basis. This aggregate turnover is required to be computed on all India basis. Sir, what do you mean by this aggregate turnover is required to be computed on all India basis? Meaning, whenever you calculate this aggregate turnover, what am I selecting? Okay, whenever you are calculating this aggregate turnover, how many ever number of branches you have in entire India, all those branches turnover is required to be taken. Sir, repeat. Whenever you are calculating the aggregate turnover, you have 10 branches throughout India, include the turnover of all those 10 branches. You have 50 branches in entire India, include the turnover of all those different branches. Meaning, aggregate turnover is required to be calculated on all India basis, or I can also use the word, it is required to be computed on pan-India basis. Sir, what do you mean by pan-India basis? Meaning, under the same PAN, check how many different registrations are there throughout India. Under the same single PAN, check how many different registrations are there in entire India. Take the turnover of all those registration. While computing aggregate turnover. Sir, can you give an example? Yes. Say for example, I am doing business of sari and I have business at different states in India. I have a sari business. My business is sari business. I am running the business in the name of Priya Saris. So Priya Saris has a branch in Karnataka, it has a branch in Kerala, it has a branch in Tamil Nadu, it has a branch in Andhra, it has a branch in Maharashtra, it has a branch in Gujarat, it has a branch in Rajasthan, it has a branch in Nagaland. So there are totally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 branches which I have all over India. I have totally 8 branches all over India. Now Priya Saris Karnataka's turnover is say 10 lakhs. So in Karnataka I have made a total sale of 10 lakhs. In Kerala I have made a total sale of 5 lakhs. Tamil Nadu I made a sale of 15 lakhs. Andhra Pradesh I have made a sale of 6 lakhs. In Maharashtra I have made a sale of say 10 lakhs. In Gujarat I have made a sale of 20 lakhs. In Rajasthan I have made a sale of 10 lakhs. In Nagaland I have made a sale of 4 lakhs. Now individually, if I ask you what is the turnover of the state of Karnataka, you will tell the turnover of the state of Karnataka is 10 lakhs. The turnover of the state of Karnataka is 10 lakh. But if I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, if I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, then your answer should be 10 lakhs plus 20 lakhs plus 10 lakhs plus again 10 lakhs plus 5 lakhs plus 15 lakhs plus 6 lakhs plus 4 lakhs. We should total this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 80 lakhs is my aggregate turnover. What is your aggregate turnover? If I ask you what is your aggregate turnover, the answer should be 80 lakhs. If I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, the answer should be 80 lakhs. Now, question number 2. So first thing what we understood, while computing the aggregate turnover, we should take the turnover of all the different businesses or the turnover of all the different places from where you are doing the businesses. So it should be taken on pan-India basis. Point number 1. So here we took an example wherein I have Priya Saris in entire India. Now example number 2, I have Priya Saris in the state of Karnataka. In Karnataka, in the state of Karnataka, I have Priya Saris at 4 different locations. It is there in Bangalore, it is there in Mysore, it is there in Hubli, it is there in say Mangalore. So I have Priya Saris in these 4 different locations. Priya Saris, Bangalore, Mysore, Hubli and Mangalore. The turnover of Priya Saris Bangalore is 10 lakhs, Mysore is 5 lakhs, Hubli is 5 lakhs, Mangalore is 20 lakhs. So if I ask you what is the turnover of Priya Saris, what is aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, your answer should be it is 40 lakhs. Your answer should be it is 40 lakhs. If you have 10 branches in the same state, then also you should include everything. If you have 10 branches in entire India, you should include all those different turnover while computing aggregate turnover. Point number 1. Point number 2, very important point. Point number 2. Now Mr. Dilip is having 5 different types of business. Mr. Dilip is having Priya Saris, sari business. Mr. Dilip is having Priya Sweets, which is a sweet business. Mr. Dilip is having Priya Dupattas, which is a dupatta business. Mr. Dilip is having Priya Chudidars, which is a chudidar business, and Mr. Dilip is having Priya Headache Center, which is an parlor, headache center, etc. Not a headache center, which is a massage center, etc. Okay. So I have 5 different types of business. All these 5 different types of business are registered under same PAN. They are all doing the business by using my PAN. They are all doing the business by using the PAN of Mr. Dilip. By using the PAN of Mr. Dilip. Now, turnover of Priya Saris is 50 lakhs. Turnover of Priya Sweets is 20 lakhs. Turnover of Priya Dupattas is 10 lakhs. Turnover of Priya Chudidars is 20 lakhs. And turnover of Priya Headache Center is 100 lakh. Turnover of Priya Headache Center is 100 lakh. Now, if I ask you what is the aggregate turnover, please listen to my question carefully. If I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, if I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, what will your answer be? My question is, what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris? What is your answer? My question is, what is your one answer I have received, sir, 50 lakhs, sir. 2 answers I have received, sir, 50 lakhs, sir. Beauty. If I ask you what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Saris, what is your answer? 2 answers I have received, 50 lakhs. Third answer is also 50 lakhs. That is the beauty. That is the beauty of the definition of aggregate turnover. That is the beauty of the definition of aggregate turnover. The answer is 200 lakh. Sir, what nonsense. The answer is 200 lakh. Sir, what nonsense. The answer is 200 lakh. Sir, what nonsense. It is not nonsense. That is what the definition is trying to tell. That is what you are required to understand in this definition of aggregate turnover. Aggregate turnover definition says what, sir? Aggregate turnover means aggregate value of all taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export of goods or services, interstate supply to a person having same PAN to be computed on all India basis. I have also written the word to be computed on pan India basis. Sir, what do you mean by this, to be computed on all India basis or to be computed on pan India basis? This means if you have 10 different types of business, if you have 10 different types, I am not telling branches now. Priya Sarees has 10 branches, I will include everything. Now here I am telling the point. Second point which I am talking about is if you have 10 different types of business, if you have 10 different types of business, then the turnover of all those different types of business should be taken if they are all registered under same PAN. If they are all registered under same PAN, then the turnover of all those 10 different types of business should also be taken, should also be included while computing the aggregate turnover. The turnover of all those 10 different types of branches is also required to be included while computing the aggregate turnover. I hope this point is clear to you all. I hope this point is clear to you all. See, what is the important condition? They should all be registered under same PAN. Owner should, it is not that everyone should have Dilip as owner. No, the PAN used for doing business of all these different business should be same. Example number 2, same example number 2. Say there is Dilip, there is a company called as, please understand this example. By understanding this example, I believe all your doubts will be cleared now. Almost everyone has replied that yes sir. Now there is a company called as Priya Sarees, which is owned by exclusively by Dilip, meaning PAN of Mr. Dilip is used for doing the business. So the turnover of Priya Sarees is 50 lakhs. Then there is a company called as Priya Dupattas. There is a company called as Priya Dupatta. This Priya Dupatta is owned by Priya, meaning PAN of Priya has been used for doing this business. The turnover of Priya Dupattas is 10 lakhs. Next, there is one more company. There is one more company called as Priya Chudidar. There is one more company called as Priya Chudidar, which is a partnership firm. It has two partners, Dilip and Priya. It has two partners, Dilip and Priya. The turnover of Priya Chudidar is 20 lakh. The turnover of Priya Chudidar is 20 lakhs. Please understand the question carefully. There is one business which is solely owned by Dilip. There is second business which is solely owned by Priya, and there is third business which is owned jointly by Priya and Dilip, which is a partnership firm owned jointly by Priya and Dilip. My question to you is, what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Sarees? What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Dupattas? What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Sarees and what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Dupattas? What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Sarees and what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Dupattas? Come on, India. Sir, aggregate turnover of Priya Sarees is 50 lakhs, sir. Aggregate turnover of Priya Sarees is 50 lakhs. Aggregate turnover of Priya Dupattas is 10 lakhs. Why aggregate turnover of Priya Dupatta and Priya Sarees is 50 lakhs and 10 lakhs? Sir, because it is individually owned by two different people. Because it is individually owned by Priya and Dilip, we are using the PAN of Priya and Dilip for their businesses, for registration of their businesses, etc. So they both will have separate PAN. They both will have separate PAN. Because they both have separate PAN, their turnover will be taken separately. Now, my third question, an important question. What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidar? What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidar? Please note, Priya Chudidar is a partnership firm which consists of two partners, Mr. Dilip and Miss Priya. Dilip has his own business whose turnover is 50 lakh, and he has its own business. Priya has her own business whose turnover is 10 lakhs, and the Chudidar business turnover is 20 lakhs. My question to you is, what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidar? I need answer from everyone. I need answer from everyone. Please answer. What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidar? See, if you answer, I am not going to get any benefit, but you will get benefit. What benefit will we get, sir? You will start thinking. When you start thinking, if you are wrong, then that wrong thinking will go off. Abhishek says, sir, 20 lakhs. Kirti says 80 lakhs. Prasad says 20 lakhs. Okay. Prachi 80 lakhs. Sorry, I'm taking out your name. Okay, so I have received mixed answer 20 lakhs and 80 lakhs. Now that is the beauty. That is the beauty. That is the beauty. See, now your understanding will be very clear with regard to this point. You will not make this mistake ever again. Now, partnership firm and partners. Partnership firm and partners. Sir, no worries, sir. Not an issue. Okay. Sir, partnership firm and partners. Partnership firm and partners. Is partnership firm and partners same? That is, will a partnership firm and partners have the same PAN? Will the partnership firm and partners have the same PAN? I am a person, I am an individual have his own PAN. Then no sir. Okay. And then a partnership firm will have its own PAN. A company will have its own PAN. If I am a director of a company, then the company will have its PAN. My PAN is of no use to them. Then if there is a trust, it will have its separate PAN. So every different type of company which is formed, every form of person has their own separate types of PAN. So partnership firm will have its own PAN and partners will have their separate PAN. So my question to you was, what is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidars? What is the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidars? Now, when I am computing the aggregate turnover of Priya Chudidars, I should take the turnover of those people, or I should take the turnover of those businesses which has used firm's PAN as their for registration, which has used firm's PAN for their registration. In the present case, Priya Chudidar is a partnership firm which is having a separate PAN. So if I ask you what is the aggregate of Priya Chudidars, your answer should be 20 lakhs. Your answer should be 20 lakhs. Sir, why sir my answer should be 20 lakhs? Because a partnership firm and partners will have separate PANs. A partnership firm and partners will have separate PAN. Partnership firm and partners will have separate PAN. Sir, what did we understand by this? By this, you are understanding that the turnover of partners is not required to be included while computing the turnover of partnership firm. The turnover of partners should not be included while computing the turnover of partnership firm. I hope this point is clear to you all. Similarly, when you are computing the aggregate turnover of a company, please do not include the turnover of their directors. When you are computing the turnover of an HUF, please do not include the turnover of their members. I hope this point is very clear to you all. I hope this point is very clear to you all. Let us go back to the definition. Last one single 2 lines with regard to definition. Yes sir. Now, aggregate turnover means aggregate value of all taxable supplies, exempt supplies, export of goods or services, interstate supply to a person having same PAN. This is required to be computed on all India basis, or this is required to be computed on pan India basis. How many ever registrations you have in India under a single PAN, that should be taken into consideration while computing the aggregate turnover. Then it shall exclude. Whenever you are calculating the aggregate turnover, you are required to exclude something. Sir, what are those things which are required to be excluded? All the taxes under GST. There are different taxes which you are paying under GST. The taxes under GST. So there are different taxes which are paid under GST, such as CGST, SGST, UTGST, IGST and GST compensation cess. All these different types of taxes are required to be excluded. They should not be included when you are computing the aggregate turnover. So if a person gives that a total turnover is 1.18 lakh and they say it is inclusive of GST at 18%, then tell me, if they ask you, if they give an amount that the turnover is 1.18 lakhs and it includes GST at 18%, tell me what is the aggregate turnover. What will your answer be? Tell me what is the aggregate turnover. What will your answer be? Come on, India. If 1 or 2% can answer this. They have given turnover is 1.18 lakh. It includes GST at 18%. What is the aggregate turnover? Sir, the aggregate turnover is simple, sir, 18 lakhs. Now, there are two categories of people. Some people would have done 1.18 lakh into 18%. Please note, this is not the right way. 1.18 lakh into 18% is not the right way. What am I supposed to do? See, this 1.18 lakh includes GST also. It includes GST also. So if you do 1.18 lakh into 18%, that means you are computing GST on GST and then subtracting the GST. No. You should not do the same. There is a formula. If you don't know the formula, you can use a simple max. Let X be the aggregate turnover. X into 18% is equal to 1.18 lakh. Therefore, 1.18x is equal to 1.18 lakh. X is equal to 1.18 lakhs divided by 1.18, which is equal to 1 lakh. Simple max. Or there is a formula which is given under GST law. What is that formula, sir? Say that formula, say aggregate turnover, I'll write, but the formula is not with regard to aggregate turnover. Aggregate turnover shall be equal to turnover given into 100 divided by 100 plus tax rate, into 100 divided by 100 plus tax rate. In the present case, the turnover given is 1,18,000 into 100 divided by 118, which is equal to 1 lakh, Therefore, whenever you are computing aggregate turnover, you should exclude the taxes under GST. You should please see the question properly. Normally, students do a mistake. In question no, where they have written rupees, they will write over there only in small words that it is including GST at 5%. Student will not see this thing. See, normally if it is written as a note, no, we will read it. But if it is written inside the bracket that it includes GST at 5%, we normally tend to not see it. Who will see particulars and rupees column? We'll directly see the matter. So you should be very careful in examination. Each and every word or each and every line in examination is important. There are people who have done this mistake, so only I am telling this. Normally, if the same point is given at the end, note that the amounts given are inclusive of GST, then you will exclude GST. But if the same is given within the bracket that rupees includes GST at 5%, then students tend to forget it and they will just total and write the answer. Sir, turnover will never include taxes, right? Then where is the question of reducing it again? Correct, Sundari, it will not include the taxes. In the examination, they will give amount. They will write this, say rupees inclusive of GST at 5%, 18%, etc. They will not use the word turnover, but I am using the word turnover. I have used the word for just for explaining person. I have used the word turnover. Or okay, you call it as an amount. Amount given is 1.18 lakhs. So just to use this. Okay, sorry Sundara. Okay, not an issue. Mistake happens in life. Next point, inward supply liable for reverse charge. Whenever you are computing aggregate turnover, you should not include inward supply liable for reverse charge. See, aggregate turnover means your sales. Normally, turnover means what, sir? Turnover means your supplies or your sales. Under GST, Purchase is also called as supply, sale is also called as supply. That is the beauty of GST. Under GST, purchases are also called as supply, sales are also called as supplies. Purchases are called as inward supply, sales are called as outward supply. Therefore, there may be a confusion. Normally, sales are included in turnover. Now they are telling there are some supplies. What is this point telling? This point is telling there are some supplies on which you being the recipient have to pay the taxes to the government. We had seen in our previous class that there are some supplies on which we being the recipient has to pay the taxes to the government under reverse charge, legal services or services taken from government, or GTA services, who is paying the tax at 5%, etc. Or I am purchasing raw cotton from an agriculture, etc. We had seen different cases wherein the purchaser, the recipient, has to pay the taxes. Now, just because the recipient is paying the taxes on his purchases, it does not mean that it is his sales. Just because the recipient is paying the taxes on his purchases, it does not mean that it is his sales. So they are specifically telling that if there is any inward supply on which the tax is liable to be paid under reverse charge, on which the recipient has to pay the taxes under reverse charge, you should not include that. It is not your outward supply, it is not your sales, it is your purchases. Any purchases on which you are paying the taxes on reverse charge shall not be included. It should not be included. Okay. This is all about the definition of aggregate turnover. I think almost 20 minutes to 30 minutes discussion we have had on this aggregate turnover definition. Very important definition, very important from exam perspective, very important generally also to understand the entire GST law. There is two things which is very important. One is this aggregate turnover definition, and one is that supply topic, because supply links everything under GST. Okay, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Let us take a short break of 10 minutes.